Hi guys, Katrina here from Pilates Together, and I've got 5 pre-ride exercises that you can do to fire up your core. So grab a mat and let's get started. We're going to start with a little bit of breath work. So lie down comfortably, bend your knees, bring your feet flat, and put your hands right on your belly. Exhale all the air out of your lungs. On your next inhale, I want you to try and breathe into your belly. Big inhale. Expand the belly nice and wide, and then exhale. Pull the belly in as tight as you can. Keep going like that. Big inhale into the hands. And exhale, pull the belly in. Now I'm going to keep talking. You take about 8 more breaths like this. So what we're working on here is what we call transverse abdominal breathing or belly breathing. So what we're trying to do is actually learn to create an abdominal brace by using our diaphragm. So this is normal diaphragmatic breathing. When we inhale, our diaphragm expands down into our abdominal cavity. That's what pushes our belly out. And then when we exhale, our diaphragm contracts back into our ribs, allowing us to contract the abdominals. So maybe about 4 more breaths here. And if you're used to breathing into the chest or the shoulders, you might find it hard to breathe like this. But what I'm teaching you to do is to create an abdominal brace that you'll be able to use while you're riding. Good, so 1 more. And then we're going to do what we call a sustained contraction of your transverse abdominal. So big inhale. And then exhale, pull the belly in, exhale all the air out, pull it in as tight as you can. Now hold that contraction and keep breathing like normal. So to keep the belly tight like this, you're going to have to find somewhere else to breathe. So just see if you're able to do this. See if you're able to keep that belly pulling in tight, the waist pulling in tight, and you're going to have to breathe into your ribs, your side ribs, your upper back. See if you can just breathe normally so you don't have to take big breaths here. Good, and then just let it go. So that is basically how you create an abdominal brace. I want you to practice that another 2 or 3 times. But one thing that will help you get better at that and increase your lung capacity is our next exercise, rib cage breathing. So just move your hands up to your ribs. And now this time we're doing the opposite of what we just did. So take a big inhale, side to side into your rib cage. Try and really fill your chest with air. And then on your exhale, try and bring the ribs together, contract them in. Keep going like that. And exhale. Think of really knitting the front ribs together. You can find these 2 front rib points. So I want you to continue breathing like that. Take about 8 more breaths while I talk. And exhale, really contract those ribs. So now this is the opposite of belly breathing. But one thing that this will be great for is really improving your lung capacity. So you don't get quite so breathy on hills. So you can find more places to fill your lungs with air. So as you're breathing, I want you to now start to think of inhaling into your upper back. See if you can think of inhaling that upper back into the mat, and then exhale. Try and contract the upper back now. So see how many different places in your torso you can fill with air. 1 more big breath. Good. So that's your transverse abdominal activation, learning how to create an abdominal brace, and then your rib cage breathing, learning where else you can breathe while you're maintaining an abdominal brace, and also where you can put some more air. We're going to work on a straight up abdominal contraction now. So I want you to lift your legs up to a tabletop position. Make sure your back is fully anchored on the mat. Your legs are at about a 90-degree angle. If you can't keep your back flat, move your knees in a little closer. And then stack your hands on your thighs. So you can put 1 hand on each thigh or stack the hands, whatever works for you. Take a big inhale. And exhale at the same time. Push your hands and your thighs in towards each other. You should feel a big contraction in your belly. And then on your inhale, release. Exhale, contract and hold. Hold for about 3 to 5 seconds. We'll do this 3 more times. Inhale, release. And exhale, contract. Think of pulling the belly in like you did on that transverse abdominal breathing. Inhale, release. Exhale, contract. Really push here. Really push your legs and your hands in towards each other as hard as you can. 1 more time. Big inhale. And exhale, push. Good. And bend the knees in, lower the feet down. So you might have felt your thighs more than your belly on that one, or maybe as much. Cyclists tend to have very strong hip flexors and quads, so sometimes they take over for our abs. I'm going to show you a quick modification. If you felt more legs than abs, it just means you don't quite have the connection to them yet, so I want you to just reduce your load. Bring just one leg up to tabletop, stack those hands on that leg, on that thigh, and do the same thing. On your exhale, press the leg and the hands in towards each other. Inhale, release. One more time, exhale, press. So you can do about 5 times on that leg and then switch. Again, this is just the modification. Inhale. And exhale, push. So you might not feel as strong a contraction, but the most important thing is that you're connecting to your abdominals and not your thighs. One more time, inhale. And exhale, pull the belly in and push, push, push with the hands and the thigh. And relax. So from here, we'll move into toe taps. Lift those legs back up to tabletop. Hands come behind the head, and you come into a little crunch. Now, don't look up at the ceiling. This will just crunch the back of your neck. Tuck your chin and look at your belly. Now, keep the same shape in the legs, so we're not bending or straightening the knees. We're just going to hinge down towards the mat, and then lift that leg back up. Again, my back is flat to the mat. Try the other side. Inhale, hinge, and exhale, lift. Inhale, hinge, keeping that low back flat. So only go as low as you can without that low back arch. Inhale, hinge, and exhale, lift. So what we're practicing here is maintaining an abdominal contraction with the spine in a flexed position while we're moving the legs unilaterally. Exactly what you're about to do on your ride. So you can do about 10 repetitions each side, or I'll give you a little option here. If you want to practice bicycling your legs, you can keep that crunch and just do little bicycle pedals through your legs. So now you're actually practicing being in an abdominal contraction while you bicycle your legs. And then just for fun, go ahead and back pedal. Ride that imaginary bike in reverse. Good, and bend the knees into the chest. Give them a little hug, lower down. Go ahead and roll or rock your way up to seated. We're coming on all fours. So one of the best ways to activate your core is to do planks. If you're like me, you hate doing planks. So I'm going to show you a little modified plank that won't tire you out too much. Come onto all fours. Hands right under shoulders, knees right under hips. Tuck your toes under. Do a little cat-cow really quickly here. And I want you to find that cat position. So this is your cow. And then that rounded spine will be your cat. In Pilates, we call this a C curve. So I want you to try and maintain that position. Don't let that low back sag. Really lift the belly up away from the ground. And now see if you can just hover your knees and hold it. So again, what we're practicing doing is engaging our core while our spine is in a flexed position. Our knees are bent. And now you have the option. You can do what I call little baby mountain climbers and just move the knee in and in. And in, and in. Good for 5, and 5, 4, and 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, and 1. Knees down, untuck the toes, sit back and take a quick child's pose. We're going to do that again. You can repeat that 2 or 3 times before your ride. And again, it should feel like you're planking, but it shouldn't feel quite as hardcore as a full high plank. So come back out one more time. All fours. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Check it. Tuck your toes under. Make that cat pose. So I want you to even look at your thighs or your knees and then hover the knees. Watch the knees don't get too high here. Keep them low, just 2 inches off the mat. And you can just hold it. Make sure that back doesn't sag. Keep that nice C curve. And then if you want, you can do your little mountain climbers for 5 and 4 and 3. Think of getting a low belly contraction to pull those knees to the chest. Last 2 and 2 and 1 and 1. Untuck the toes, knees down, quick recovery. And roll up through the spine. And that's it. 5 exercises to help you activate your core before you get on the bike. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think.
Hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to this channel already. And also in the description is a link to subscribe to my email list if you're not signed up. Until next time, happy riding.